Coolermaster's peripheral game has been on the up and up as of late, so is the SK622 here a feather in the cap or a turd helmet? Good afternoon and welcome to Turbo Tortoise Tech. If you're new here, I'm Reese of the 4-piece variety or WookiE XXXL. And in front of me, as I said, is an SK622. Coolermaster Keyboards and I are long time friends. I actually gave a mate of mine my Quickfire Pro and he's still using it. That thing's like 9 years old now. So yeah, they do build some parts to last. Those were with Cherry MX black switches for reference. I like quite a hard D press because I play things like StarCraft where bounce back is needed when you are spamming for those Zerg units you need absolutely desperately as the Protoss is approaching you from across the field. Most of the time it's Terran. I hate Terran. But what I don't hate, as I've said, are Coolermaster keyboards. At the moment my daily driver is an MK730, which is a TKL, whereas this is like a 60% where you're losing almost even more of the keyboard. But you don't ever with Coolermaster. This is one of the nice little ways that they set things up. So let's start off from the top. What's the idea with the 622 over here? It's a 60% keyboard, so it's still got the arrow keys and stuff, but they've tried to remove the home, del, page down, etc., and move it into the areas around that and then activate them off of the function keys, which is perfectly fine because the idea here is as compact as humanly possible. And what would a compact keyboard be without wireless support? So to answer that, they put in a Bluetooth 4.0 receiver inside of the unit, which does actually get firmware updates to it, which I think is kind of cool. So they'll be able to improve its efficacy over time. There's a 4,000 milliamp battery in here. Yes, you heard right, 4,000 milliamp hours. Off a single charge with just RGB backlighting going, you'll probably get like a few weeks worth of usage even in Bluetooth mode. I haven't been able to use it for that long. I basically didn't charge it. I was using it off of the cable the entire time. I plugged it in to the PC to do the firmware updates because it's actually in a dual mode, this keyboard, which I'll explain to you how it works now. But that was the first time I plugged it in and the battery was still basically full after like a day and a half worth of usage. So it's got the chops as far as battery life goes. So on the side of the keyboard is a little switch, and at the moment it's in Bluetooth mode and it's connected to my PC. That's why the lighting and stuff isn't stopping. But if I flip it, you'll notice it turns off. And at that point is when it looks for the cable source. To help you with a cable or wired connection for the 1000 Hertz polling rate, because the Bluetooth only does 125. Not that I was actually able to tell the difference between the two, to be very honest, but the cable that they provide to you is a standard USB Type-C. It is really nicely braided. It's not ProFlex, so it is quite a stiff braid, but seeing as it's a part that you're not going to be moving around a lot, I don't really see that as too much of an issue. They also ship it with this very nice, to the touch, velvety bag, which has a drawstring on top. So the idea behind this is clearly for mobility. So if you want a mechanical keyboard for gaming when you're sitting at home or whatever the case is, and then you're out and about and then you want to still have a good quality keyboard experience, then you can flip it into the Bluetooth mode, connect it up to anything with a Bluetooth receiver and just carry on. It also comes with this handy little key puller, so if you want to take your keys off and clean in between there, you'll be able to do that quite hassle-free as well because it's a flat deck keyboard. So once the keys are removed, cleaning inside of there is literally microfiber cloth and it's back to perfection. They also give you this very handy little quick start guide, and it's quite important that they've done this because the sheer amount of hotkeys that are available on this keyboard, you do need a little booklet for it because like that whole page is just some of the hotkey combinations and functions you can do, and to activate things like the Bluetooth mode. I struggled with that because I was deaf and I didn't read the manual, but then when I read the manual, then everything made sense. Because the idea with these things and with the Coolermaster keyboards is that you can do everything on board as well as in the software. The software is quite nice because you also only install the drivers and the software for the units that you have, not for every single mouse and keyboard, which is big thumbs up from me. In the software, you can change the RGB backlighting, you can do custom profiles for it, you can select which profiles are on the keyboard or not, you can do macro editing, you can do button assignment, and you can disable certain buttons and stuff. So if you, for instance, want to permanently disable your Windows key, you can do that in there. And as I said, there's button assignments is there as well. So if you want to have a macro, for instance, on the insert key, then you can quite easily assign it over there. The physical setup of the keyboard is quite a familiar one. It's got two kickstands on the back over here with good old rubberizing at the bottom, so it's not going to skit around, at least on the desk. And then as I said, full aluminium backplate. There was a sticker around here, which I have to say was the hardest sticker to remove in my entire life, which is kind of good and bad, I suppose, because you know if it's not on here, then that's not a brand new keyboard. But if it is on there, good luck. It's going to take you about 20 minutes to get the damn thing off. Now, I'm sure it's quite obvious looking at it that this is not a standard mechanical, that this is a low profile mechanical. They've employed TTC switches in this. This one in particular comes with the Cherry MX Blues. As you can hear, they are a clicky key, but you can get it in reds and browns as well. I would have preferred this in red, to be honest, looking at you, Coolermaster, but I can't complain because, hey, you'll see towards the end of the video why I can't complain. But if you want to hear what this sounds like, I'm going to do a quick typing test where I'll do the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog twice over, cut the music and everything so that you can hear through the mic exactly what it sounds like. So you guys noticed my right hand doesn't only, I can only use two fingers. I don't know why, that's just how I learned. My left hand is StarCraft trained, so that puppy cruises. But I think main bullet point in the presentation is the noise level and stuff, even for blues, is actually quite low. The feedback from the key being a 3mm travel, it's actually not bad. The travel, it's definitely more noticeable than a lot of the low profile mechanicals and like scissor switches and stuff. There's a lot more travel in it than a normal low profile switch, which is good. But what I will say is they are a little bit sticky. I think this could use a lubing kit, which would make the switches a little bit better in performance, because they tend to, on the way down at least, sometimes catch on the edges of the cylinder that it's busy moving in like that. It does that quite a lot. Now, I gamed on this and used it, as I said, for a full day, and I was actually quite happy with it, especially where typing was concerned. Finding the alt keys and that sort of stuff does take some getting used to because it's not a non-standard layout, right? I literally ran this with Bluetooth the majority of the time, and I didn't notice a difference. I only saw later that the cable's 1000 Hertz polling by default, and then the Bluetooth is 125. I honestly didn't feel a difference. I played a bunch of FPS games from COD, Dota, LOL, you name it. I played it on this keyboard. I made sure to do quite a lot of different games and stuff to get a feel for that, especially like MOBA and RTS and stuff, where you tend to use more than you do in FPS. But the bullet point of the presentation was, even in the wireless mode, it ran really damn well. I didn't feel any delay or lag or any input like performance loss from it. Overall, it's sub 2,000 Rand for a 60% keyboard that's got a good enough quality switch and really nice backlighting, quite bright, and can be cabled or on the wireless mode, and that you get a little velvety bag with and a key puller and all the nice little add-ons that you get from Coolermaster. They do give quite a nice complete package. But most mechanical keyboards of this spec usually ask about 1,500 Rand. So to get it for 500 bucks more with built-in Bluetooth that I can then just connect it to any device on the go, that's a big plus for, I think, a lot of us that are in the working space like that, that use laptops and stuff that have bad chiclet and scissor switch type keyboards. Then you can get something on the go that's actually properly good, and then you won't regret using it to game after the fact. All in all, I've got to give it a big thumbs up. I'd give the keyboard in this state as an 8 out of 10, just because I would have preferred red switches. I think with the red, would have to see what the red switch was like. That's about the only detractor for me here with this keyboard, is actually the TTC blues. Like I said, they do catch when you're using them, and they didn't really loosen up as I was busy using the keyboard. So I'd like to have seen this with reds to know what that was like. But the keyboard itself, the format, the structure, everything, the build quality, It's just classically Coolermaster. Listen to those flipping things as they go back in, man. It's like a Kubis Visa flying beep slap. Anyway, this is all I have for you in this review. If you have enjoyed it, please hit us up with a like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the flip side.